All right, so I think we're live right now. This is our Twitter talk right now. And if you are watching this and are not part of the chat, just send us a quick message. If you RSVP'd as yes, we'll get you into the chat right now. You can either check your inbox, because I think that there is a message from me or from Google, and then, or you can just send us a message and we'll get you on by inviting you in. Justin's here.
Hey everybody, how's it going for Twitter 101?
Yeah. I feel like it's 102 now, because technically our Twitter talk on Twitter was like 101. This is maybe
That's true.
101.5.
Exactly. I just turned on my lower third.
Yeah, mine was on, and now it is not.
And then I'll turn on, do you have the question and answer on?
Yes, it should be on.
Oh. So if you're out there, everyone, I'm going to ask a question.
Ask something really juicy. Something philosophical about Twitter.
Well, maybe you're the only one who can, because you've created the Hangout.
I think that they can just submit questions, though. So I think that while we're talking, I
Gotcha.
think
That's
the questions
the
come
other way.
up. Yeah, so here's my question for you, and if you're actually watching, you can submit an answer. How are you using Twitter right now? Or you can also use the hashtag cohort21, and we'll see it come up in our TweetDeck feed. If you're out there, send us a little something so we know you're alive. And oh, yeah, cool. I'm just in the Google Plus page right now, and I can see the event and I can see the feed. I'm not playing it, obviously, but it is happening.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I just made one for Wednesday. Those of you who are joining us and want to learn about the blog and want to learn a bit more about WordPress and how to get the most out of your blog, we'll be doing this again on Wednesday.
What kinds of things are you going to cover during that session?
Just basics like posts, editing posts, tags, categories, a little bit on widgets and customizations, a bit about themes, and then just maybe a bit about writing and how to craft a good post, and then any other business people want to chat about.
That's amazing. I kind of want to sneak in on that one too. There's been some really good posts that have been coming up. I've been finding that there's been a lot more people writing earlier on and like doing a lot more writing as well, not just having like one or two blog posts up. And I feel like there's a lot more people active on Twitter this cohort here as well, which is really super exciting. I feel like there's more people, so just like looking through our list, there's more people who are actually doing more tweeting than blogging at this stage. I feel like more people are more comfortable with Twitter earlier on, which is very exciting. Can I ask you a question, Mr. Medved? Because I feel like you are a Twitter expert. What have you done with your students around using Twitter in your classroom or with students in other classrooms? Like, what have you seen people do at the York School that works really well in terms of students tweeting?
So we've used it in a couple different places. We've started with the IBTOK teachers, looking to try and extend the conversation, given that most kids around the world, IB kids, are in the same units at any given time. There's lots of ideas flowing around and lots of TOK teachers who are connected. And so many of the heady kind of topics really lend themselves well to just connectivity and reaching out and just opening up the conversation. And in a class of maybe 15 or 20, it's a neat opportunity to spice things up, to try bring in experts or reach out and get other perspectives. So the TOK teachers approached me, and we didn't really have a formal policy at the York School around Twitter, and so I brought a proposal to the heads the executive team, basically saying, hey, this is what we want to do. We want to like formally endorse this tool as a school, and here's how we're gonna like build in literacy and safety and security and all that kind of stuff. But
build in safety and security. Like, I'm actually really curious how you account for that with your students.
Yeah. So I'll get to that. So so it was like a formal kind of proposal that was everyone had to sign off on it. The one thing I didn't want, because because it's social media and because it's open, things can go wrong. So I outlined all those things, and everyone on the executive team basically decided that the benefits far outweighed the risks,
Mm-hmm.
and the kind of measures we were putting in place to ensure our students were using the tool responsibly and carefully were adequate. And so we launched that, and then that started to cascade down into the grade 10, and then next year with our grade 9s, I think that's going to be something we use as a major tool. And I know at West, a couple teachers who run their entire course through Twitter.
What?
And a series of hashtags. Yeah, it's like basically their LMS.
That's.
But yeah, so we
want to know how they do that.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Brad Overholt Carter, pretty kind of super educator. But yeah, we did a bunch of work with the kids around. First of all, we tied their accounts to their York School email addresses.
Right.
So that was the first step. So this was not a social account. It was a professional account, much the same way that we frame it with Core 21. So we basically said, here you're using your school email address, and so when you use your school email address, and just like when you go on a field trip in your uniform, you have to act and behave and
right.
Present yourself as if you were representing the school.
Right.
And so all the things that go with it.
Yeah, and as a teacher, are you following all of your students as well, so that you can sort of monitor what's actually happening?
Yeah, exactly. So those teachers, we set them up with TweetDeck, we set them up with the hashtag protocols, and basically allow them to kind of monitor all the kids and what they're doing.
One second.
And they're a bit older too. They're a bit more responsible.
Good. How are you?
Garth's on the phone.
Garth's on the phone. Yeah.
Virtual Garth.
Right. Okay. Okay. So the only problem with that is that it's not on air. So, okay, so should one of us get into that Hangout and get them to go into another one? Can you? Yeah. He and I are in a Hangout right now. Just the two of us, but I sent everyone an invite to this Hangout from this on-air Hangout. Because Justin and I could join that one, but the only problem is that we can't go on air from that one. Yeah. Yes. Okay. Thanks. Okay, bye. Okay, cool. Okay, bye. Okay, apparently everyone's in the other event right now. Hey,
Okay.
Ruth is in.
Nice.
Yay.
Did she leave the other one?
I don't know. I'm in the other one as well, but I haven't joined that Hangout, obviously. But I'm like looking on the page. Good lesson learned. Can I join two Hangouts at once?
No, you have to leave one to get to the other.
Hey, honey.
One.
You're on air right now. So I'll explain to everybody once we're all in the same Hangout together, because it's a good learning lesson.
Would you like me to go back to the other one and tell them how to get here?
Garth, I think, is jumping in to do that exact same thing right now. So he will pull them over. Oh, I set up a invite for the first one as a Google event, and then I could make it a Hangout. But the only problem with the other one is that I can't make it a live on-air Hangout. So I had to make another, which is not a big deal. We could have just done a Hangout, but this way we can actually broadcast it. People can watch, and then we can archive it. So
Right.
the other one's like a Skype call, and this one's like we make a movie for people to be able to see.
Right.
So I love that.
Clicked on the thing in the invite.
Yeah, and that's how you got in here because I sent you an invite to this.
No, I think like the first one you sent out, like or when you created the event and invited everyone, it had
Right.
something that said like join Hangout.
Yeah, that's right. There was two.
Yeah,
So
confusing.
I'm not really sure how I got here anymore, but I'm here.
It's like the back alley of Google Hangouts right now. So thanks for coming. I'm excited to get to hear your expertise on Twitter.
Oh, I'm not much of an expert, but I'm glad I'm here. It's okay.
Well, you're on it, so I think that's expertise that we can count on. I was like looking through my Twitter feed. I'm like, who uses Twitter and who's amazing and who can share some knowledge? Yay, Danielle, you're here.
I am, and I didn't wash my hair.
Oh, I am upset. I'm really
That,
Ruth MacArthur?
Do we have a Ruth MacArthur joining us?
No, she's an alum. She wants to get in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
get her in.
on the other call, so
I think you have to invite her because you did the
Oh, yeah.
on-air.
Power. So let me send her an invite.
If you want her email address, I can give it to you.
Oh no, I teach with her. She's on my team.
Oh, of course.
Done.
Nice.
Yay, Danielle, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
I'm really good. I feel like we have two parties and we're just like pulling everyone over across the street to this party.
Cool kids are now in this party.
I know, we're slowly bringing them over.
Yeah, after party.
Amazing.
Just
Justin was
report cards.
oh yeah, when are they due?
Oh, they were due last week. Not a good
Okay.
time.
That's really early for report cards to be due. That's
Yeah. So we're trying to get them done.
yeah. Okay, we've got Les.
Nice.
Okay, slowly. Hey Les.
Hi, how's it going?
Really good. Welcome to this party.
Thank you. I'm going to hang up again in a minute. I'm just going to steal the link to this one so I can just send people the link directly so they can join. It's going to let me. Oh, it doesn't let me invite people.
I can get it up.
Awesome. Thanks.
Are you just going to pop into the other Hangout?
Yeah, I'm just going to pop in and paste it in the chat so that they can all just click on it and join this one.
Okay, so what I will do is, I've got the link here, Les. I will just send you a message.
Okay, great. Thanks. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hello.
I just put it in the chat, Les. It's just on the
Awesome.
chat screen.
Okay. I'll be back in a moment.
Okay,
I
we'll
kind
be-
of feel like this is one of those scenes in like those like undersea adventure films where someone's in an air pocket and you have to like hold your breath and leave the air pocket to go out into the other room. And then you're like, don't worry, I'm gonna
Yes.
be back, I swear. And then you go back out again.
All right, I'm going underwater. I'll be back.
Okay.
You're like, I swear, I'll return. I won't leave you.
Hi. Here's something in the background. Okay, so we're on air and we're broadcasting right now, so why don't we keep talking about Twitter, and while people join us, we can just explain the two Hangout situation, and then we can just start the conversation going. Does that sound cool to everybody?
Yep.
Awesome. Justin was just, oh, sorry, say that again. Awesome. Justin was just talking about some ways that he has been using Twitter in his classroom, or how some teachers have been using it. Ruth, Danielle, have you guys actually used Twitter with your students, having your students tweet, or what have you seen in your schools around Twitter and students?
I haven't used it with my students yet. A couple of my students are actually following me. But so far I've just been using Twitter for myself. I know there is an English grade 11, 12 English and theory of knowledge teacher who uses it with her classes. And I'm interested in exactly what she's doing, but I'm not quite sure how that works yet.
Yeah. I feel kind of the same way.
She's using basically different hashtags to archive conversation and to promote like back channel discussion. But then also I think she's reaching out to a bunch of different TOK teachers and having their students connect and talk about different particular questions and ideas and share resources and stuff like that in that way. Because I think a lot of it, they wanted them to kind of explore different mediums and forms of communication, and then this has kind of spilled over into that.
I've been using Twitter with the Writing Center and with just myself as an English teacher. And one of the things I'm doing is I schedule every day that I'm delivering new content. So I just make myself a calendar reminder because I won't remember.
Really
and I've been using Hootsuite. No, TweetDeck. And loving it because it schedules and lets me send out the same content to two different, to both the Cohort 21 and also the Writing Center. And I've started something which I actually sort of found through Twitter of universities. Spotted Around Campus is one of the things. So if I see really great writing, or I ask another teacher, can you forward me some really great writing from an essay that you've done? I post that anonymously, Spotted Around Campus, a grade 9 English student with an awesome thesis statement. And then I also email that student to say, just take a look on the HTS Writing Center, because some great ideas that you've been writing. So some of the things that I'm doing.
That's really exciting. This is probably a question more for Ruth and Danielle right now, but I'm just wondering what you wish you knew about Twitter when you started Cohort 21. And I just wanted to say hey to Meg, who just joined us. Hi, Melissa, Andrew Rustin, how's it going?
Hey, hello.
Just thanks for coming over to this other hangout, guys. This is a good learning moment for me because I had 2 invites set up. The first one I set up was just a hangout, and then I realized I can't make it live on air. So then I had to set up the second one that I can make live on air, and then everyone joined the first one I sent out to you. So good learning moment for me hosting my first hangout. So thank you for coming. It's like the party across the street, and we're getting going now, which is exciting. So past cohort alumni, what do you wish you knew about Twitter when you first started?
I think I'm still learning quite a lot about Twitter, but I will admit to having been a complete Twitter skeptic and may or may not have said phrases like, I'm not quite sure what value this will bring to my life.
Oh, you know now.
That it's worth my time to engage in this. And now, 1 year later, I find that I spend more time on Twitter than I do on Facebook or any other social media. So I think, I don't know what I wish I'd known then. It's give it time. Like, I think open mind and patience are good things.
Mm-hmm. I think that could be like a really great endorsement for anyone watching right now who's a little bit, I don't know about this Twitter thing. So I'm really, thank you for saying that. Danielle, do you want to pipe in here?
Sure. I think for me, I didn't realize how easy it was, and I didn't realize the value that it could bring to me in terms of reading articles that I would never have had access to. So I think it's sort of grown my professional learning community. Twitter has been, for me, like Ruth, I didn't really see the value. I had sent 1 tweet in about 4 years, and now I'm pretty addicted. Love it. So I'm with Ruth in that I just didn't see the value initially, and I didn't understand hashtags and all that, and it's pretty easy.
Yeah. It is easy. I think it took me like a year to get comfortable with it. I think that actually by doing Cohort 21 and joining as a facilitator, I was way more forced to actually get comfortable with it. And I think with Ruth, I was like, I don't know, but it's so easy to like just stalk people, and that's my new favorite obsession right now is just to find people and be like, ooh, I'm going to follow you. I like what you're doing. It's trouble. So the second question is more for the new folks in the room who haven't had as much experience using it. I'm curious, and this doesn't need to become a confession time, but it could. What barriers do you find exist for you to use Twitter as a PLN? What are the things blocking you from getting into it as much as you would something else like blogging or maybe Google Plus.
Because I see my face is frozen on the screen. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. Just forgive my frozen face there. So I am kind of a newbie for sure on Twitter. Aaron Vigar sort of helped me get going with it. Well, he helped me get set up with it. So I am learning to appreciate the search function by hashtag. I actually have done that a few times. I like it. I don't feel like I really have anything of value to tweet about that's not just going to be kind of annoying. So I kind of need to figure out how I can start using it that way. Mm-hmm. There was one other thing I was going to say, and I totally forget. Oh, I just find the amount of information totally overwhelming. Like when I look at the Twitter feed, I think, oh my gosh, there's all this awesome stuff. I just don't have time to even, get to like a fraction of it. So I feel like when I look at it, oh my gosh, I've missed out on all this stuff. So I don't know if people have methods for managing the amount of information that overwhelms me.
I would say it's like, it's the newspaper. It's the newspaper that gets delivered to your door on Saturday, and then you pop open and you take a look at the sports, you look in the arts, and then by Monday, you gotta throw that thing out because you're not gonna you're never gonna touch it again. So it's kind of like that. There shouldn't be no guilt associated with just hop into the stream when you can. There's gonna be value to the extent that you've been able to, just follow one or two hashtags. The Cohort 21 hashtag will be valuable enough, but you could add more, and then jump out when you don't have the capacity.
Mm-hmm. The bandwidth, as you like to say.
Exactly. You'll never keep up with it all. So I get the first tip would be to just relinquish any desire to keep up.
Okay.
And once you've kind of accepted that, then a whole new piece comes over you.
Hmm.
And Meg, are you using TweetDeck to help manage the Twitter experience?
No.
Oh, yeah. So last year,
changer.
Yeah, we'll set you up in the second face-to-face. We'll make a point of that because you would have missed that setup when you because you missed the first one. But I'll take care of you.
Okay, thank you.
Amazing. Anybody else want to speak to any barriers that they're experiencing with Twitter right now? Emotional Twitter blocks?
Is there a etiquette, or how do you jump in? You just go for it?
I think you can just go for it. This isn't a protocol.
I don't know if it's necessarily a barrier, but I've just always kind of been taught since I got into education to be very, very careful with what I put on the internet. I think part of Twitter's things are supposed to be kind of like natural and off the cuff. But finding like I have a thought and I think, oh, maybe I'll tweet that, and then I second thought and third thought, and I said, oh, maybe I just won't tweet it at all because I don't want to put something up there that I don't want up there forever. So I guess balancing the being really careful with using the tool properly, which is supposed to be very natural, I guess.
Andrew, I hear you on that one. I'm a big data protection nerd, so Justin will attest to that. I never want to put anything out there, and starting to tweet was difficult because I had to get over that hurdle. I think once I started to see it as a platform for professional communication, I was able to get over that. And I try to keep my tweets as much about my professional practice as possible. And then I feel safe as a teacher, so to speak, about writing the things that I'm writing because they are authentic to my classroom, and I think that's perfectly okay to share.
Well said, Ruth. Just a reminder for everyone who's watching right now the live stream, if you want to chat along, there's actually a question box that you can put questions into, but you could also just tweet out a question, and I'm watching my Twitter feed right now. You can just use the hashtag Cohort21, and we'll get any questions you have and try to share them in as timely a manner as possible. Anybody else want to share any challenges that they've had with engaging with this tool?
I think I'm having the same issues that other people have said that they're having in terms of being overwhelmed by the amount of information, and I really want to find those gems of people to follow so that I can make the best use of my time on Twitter. Each time I go on and try to search for the proper hashtag that will suit me, I haven't had any luck yet, but I am approaching it with an open mind, and hopefully with time I'll be able to find some gems that really fit me as a chemistry teacher.
Yeah. Well, that actually is a great lead-in for my next question. For those of us who are actually in this live hangout, if you click on the chat feature in the upper left-hand corner, there's a bunch of like a chat feature that's happening in the background of this hangout, and I'll be posting the questions that I'm about to ask in there, so you can kind of have a sense of what's coming up on the horizon. So I'm just wondering, that's actually a really good lead-in, Melissa. How do you grow your PLN, Professional Learning Network, on Twitter? And this might be a great one for Justin or Danielle or Les, if you're in the house. I see your face down there, to maybe speak a little bit too. How do you grow your network on Twitter? How do you find good people?
So the just right off the bat, as soon as you said that, Melissa, I just Googled top chemistry teachers to follow, and then I came to the top 15 hashtags for chemistry teachers. So it's just, it's to some extent, it's thinking a bit creatively. I'm just going to send this to you now in the chat. So there's a lot of curated lists out there for basically, would you believe there's a grade chat for every single, grade, and from 1 to 12 for almost every discipline and subject area. So what I would do in terms of steps would be to start looking, not following yet, but looking at some of these hashtags. And then as soon as I saw someone that would seem like they weren't sharing too much and they were sharing good stuff, I would add them to a list. And then I just follow lists. So these are very kind of focused lists of like 10, 15, 20 people that are just really sharing quality all the time. I might follow a ton of people, but I really only look at my lists because I know what purpose they serve, and they're pretty easy to manage, So I'll send another link on how to use lists here too.
Awesome. Thanks, Justin. Any experienced tweeters out there have any other suggestions for growing your PLN?
I would say for me. Oh, hi guys.
Hey.
I made it in. It was a struggle, but I made it in.
We were the hardest to find party in the block, so I'm glad you're here.
Got lost. For me, the one thing that I did and really blew up my PLN was I just joined a math chat once. So I don't know if you guys have talked about these chats where it's sort of you figure out, you look online and they happen, at least the math chat that I was participating in, happens for an hour once a week. And it's through a hashtag, and so you can use TweetDeck to follow that. But then I sort of, then before they start, they send out about 5 questions, and all I did was I sat back and watched, and it was very overwhelming at first, but I could see the big name players that were participating in that chat, so I was able to sort of pick up a couple of them, and then I clicked on them and saw where they were coming from. But I was sort of like that kid staying at the back of the room and figuring out which of the kids are the ones asking the questions and answering them. And then that allowed me to sort of pick and choose who it is that I wanted to follow from then on. And then it's one of those things that you think that in these chats, at least for me in my math chat, it felt like there was about 100 or 1,000 people in this math chat, but really it was very few. So once you send your first tweet out during a chat, it's very quickly picked up because sometimes no one else, there's very few people actually participating, everyone's watching. So you have to build up that confidence to actually step in for your first time.
That's a really good analogy, Ruth, and there's actually Graham Voigt was just blogging on that. He was talking about just like watching everything happen from a distance and not knowing when to jump in and put his feet in the water. But I think that there's actually a lot of benefit in just sort of standing back and watching for a little while before you feel like you get the lingo and how to use hashtags and @ symbols. Absolutely. I think that that's really valuable. Garth posted a question, and I want to read it because it was really great. His question is, when do most people use Twitter? Finding time for it is one step to seeing it as a solution. So anyone want to speak to that one? When do you actually find the time to incorporate it into your day or your week or your schedule?
I'm on there all the time at the moment. So as much as I wasn't on there a year ago in starting Cohort 21, and there, like months would go by, I think, where I didn't even look at Twitter. Sometime over the last 6 months, it just started, like something clicked and it made sense. And I think, and this goes back to your previous question actually, I tend to follow people after I read blog posts. So if I'm attracted or touched by something that they have written, I will probably go ahead and follow them on Twitter so that I catch the next things they're writing. And the more I started reading other people's blog posts and following them on Twitter, and then they were retweeting things from other people, I think my Twitter network has grown very organically that way. I think that Cohort 21 chat recently was the first chat I've participated in. So, and in terms of finding time for Twitter, I just check in a couple times a day, to be honest. I might check in the morning, and if I saw something neat, I'll retweet it, and then I probably spend half an hour on there in the afternoon or evening.
I find that having it on my phone is the best way for me to check in. If you don't all have the Twitter app on your phone or TweetDeck on your phone, it's really great. I think when you're waiting in line, or right now I'm biking to work, but when I'm not biking, if I'm on the streetcar in the morning, you can also, if you take the subway to work, you can load it before you get on the subway and skim through, and then just favorite things as you come across things that you want to maybe check out again later and read later if you don't have time to read them right then. So,
see, I would say I'm the opposite. I don't like the idea of having it on all the time. So for me, I set like one time a week, usually like on a Saturday or Sunday, and that's when I would go through unless I'm doing those math chats, because if not, it feels like it's overwhelming me so much. So then I follow, because blog posts I find are a lot easier, but if there's something through the Twitter, I usually spend once or twice a week, because if the thing, at least in the chats and the people that I follow, it usually is a longer conversation that goes over a few days. So for me, I don't feel like I'm missing out if I'm not checking every day by the hour. You can still get the general gist of the big ideas if you only check it once or twice a week. That's just from my experience. You're still getting something out of it. You don't have to feel the pressure to do it like every day.
Yeah. Right.
I feel like I've recently become more obsessed with it. I think I was more like a once a week, or whenever I'd write a blog post, I would remember to like shout it out on Twitter, and that would maybe be like once every couple of weeks I would kind of pop in. But now I just have I've been having TweetDeck just open, and normally when I'm like trying to write report cards or write like constructive feedback for my girls' writing, I need a distraction, just like something really quick and small so that I can go back to whatever I was doing. And at one point it was Facebook, just to like stalk my friends' lives, but now I'm stalking teachers, and it's actually more enjoyable in some ways than finding out what babies are being born and stuff. I enjoy being able to just pop in for a second to see something interesting being said about growth mindset or Cohort 21. I'm going to ask another question from the crowd. How many people on this Hangout right now are actually tweeting as you participate? Do you find it's a good thing to do, this switching between tasks, or should you just be focused on one thing at a time?
I can't focus on both. Impossible.
I am totally guilty of switching. As soon as Melissa asked about chem teachers, I started like diving in to see what is out there, and I got down the rabbit hole, and I found EIC, which is at @RSC_EIC, which is Education and Chemistry magazine. That's a Royal Society of Chemistry Teachers, and they have all these like curated lists of chem departments and chem teachers, and so I'm totally going to share all this with my chem department. It's like,
thanks, Stefan.
I could totally gear up here in a second. I could be like, in about 5 minutes, I could have a really amazing chem, list if I wanted it. If I talk to you. That's what I love about it. It's just very quickly you can be like, you can just arm yourself with educational.
I'm another one who's guilty of doing a lot of different things at the same time, and when I attended that Writing Center conference last week, there were a number of university students that did presentations on how to use social media to promote your Writing Center. And so there were a few things that I didn't know before that I do now about the timing of when you send out your tweets and all that kind of stuff. And so many of the social media platforms are connected now, so I can hit up Instagram and it sends it to my tweet feed and also to Facebook, so that I can sort of hit all of the media at the same time. And so I'm guilty pretty much anywhere I go of sort of going back and see, you can hear them, I'm already beeping. Lots of people. I can't help it. I always have to have everything open, and I'm always doing something, which I curse my students for doing, and yet here I am.
I would probably do that if we couldn't see people.
That's why I'm just my smiling face, because I
something else when you're supposed to be looking and listening at them. So just hear voices, I would probably do it, but with everybody live, no. It just, I wouldn't be able to focus on two things and do them well.
Good point.
Yeah, the brain research says we can only have one conscious thought at a time. So you might be able to switch quickly between tasks, but you can't actually multitask, which is, I think, interesting. So right now I'm actually finding it hard to like moderate this, and Garth is reminding me to like check the Q&A, and I'm also getting like people texting me, and it's hard to actually switch between things quickly. It's
I was just going to say that it's something I think we should have passed on to Useless, that Garth and I usually run them in tandem. To run a successful online hangout, it actually should be done in partners. Because of so many things can be coming at you.
Yeah. Well, JMed, I feel like you're my invisible partner right now, because I feel like it's good that you're here just in case something goes horribly awry. Speaking of Garth, he has another question that I'm going to throw at you. Does anyone use the notification feature to get notified when their favorite tweet or somebody mentions you? This nudging can help.
Oh yes. I'm still waiting for some of the bigwigs in teaching to retweet my stuff, but notification that says that Grant Wiggins retweeted something of mine, I can go on that for days.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's big.
Thank you for acknowledging that.
I got one of those too.
The notifications, is that the email, like you get an email alert? Is that what you mean by notifications?
Yeah, so you can set it up, Meg, so...
yeah, I get that, actually.
Yeah, exactly. So if someone says something about you, you get it automatically emailed to you, which is helpful.
Yeah. But I never know what you're supposed to do with that.
Yeah, well...
Just bask in the excitement of it.
What was that?
Oh, I just joked and said just bask in the excitement of it. If it's someone excited.
Yeah, sometimes it's good to know when new people follow you. Like, for some people, it's valuable to have that information to see, oh, so-and-so or somebody else is actually caring about this message I put out there. Somebody's actually retweeting what I put out there. It's kind of exciting, like Danielle's saying. It's like tiny little shot to your ego, which is good, or like a boost to your ego, which is awesome.
There is something you can follow. I can't remember the name of it right now, where it shows you where a map of where all your followers are coming from. And I don't know how I got on it, but I did. And now it sends me once a week the stats of how many people have started to follow me, and it tells you who doesn't follow you anymore.
Oh,
that's dangerous.
Is that called, Danielle?
People that don't follow you anymore, and you have to wonder, why aren't you following me? Am I not giving you good content? So that's been a little bit dangerous for me.
Is that just like something you can set up within Twitter, Danielle, or is that a separate?
I'll have to look at it. I think I saw someone else using it, and then it's just an app that connects to your to Twitter, and you have to give them permission to look at your followers and that kind of thing, and it just sort of tracks where your followers are coming from, and then gives you stats on how many things were retweeted, and but it's separate from Twitter. It's like a separate third-party app. It's dangerous.
There is one that Twitter sends out as well. I get like a weekly Your Week on Twitter.
Oh, I love that.
Where it shows you, it's sort of the same information. It's like, this is, was your top tweet this week. This is how many people clicked on the link that you tweeted out. And it is nice to get those little stats and see what's happening out there.
Yeah, and for those of you who don't have that on, you can set that up really easily in the settings, and it's under notifications. We were playing with that during the first face-to-face. There's one, actually, I followed, I wish Garth was in here because it's one of the Annie, what's her last name? Annie something or other. Justin, do you know who I'm talking about? The blogger, Annie Hall? Anyway, so I followed her, and then it automatically, she had something set up, so it automatically gives a reply whenever you follow somebody.
Oh.
Yeah, and it just said, thanks for following me, check out my blog. It was interesting, and I read a little bit more on it. Apparently it's a little bit frowned down upon within the Twitter community because it's basically just spam, like you just have an auto response set up, but that's from a third-party app. I liked that she did that. I'm like, I already read your blog, and I think you're amazing. But I think it's interesting. If you set it up in a thoughtful way, it could be a nice way to acknowledge somebody's following you and to give them more information about you as a teacher.
Yeah, I tend to have the email notifications turned off, and that's only because I just get so much email from everywhere else.
Okay, Justin, you're too popular.
Justin, that's where you can start using Google's new inbox, where it sorts for you, and you have the different tabs at the top. Have any of you tried this yet? It's amazing.
No, I asked for an invite. I'm not cool enough yet.
Garth just messaged me. It's Annie Murphy Paul, the name of the blogger, and she's amazing.
Oh.
Okay, so next question for everybody. What hopes or dreams or plans do you have for using Twitter this year, with you as a professional or with you as a, with you and your students, or just to explore as a cohort project?
I think my goal is to get...
I want to figure out how to use it.
I think my goal is to feel like, I think someone discussed it earlier, like that my ideas are actually valuable and to share, and to sort of just like get over that sort of misconception that no one's really, like, there's already like how many millions of people on Twitter, so if you don't think it's really that important, then no one else is really going to think it's important, so it's okay to put it out there, and not be so afraid about the kind of impact I'm making in the ed universe, because obviously I have a personal and then a professional Twitter account, so making my professional one a little bit more active, because my personal one is more active right now than my professional.
Thanks, Ruth.
Nice.
I just like to sort of begin to embrace it. I think I understand better the power of it as a tool. So I just need to spend some more time with it and get more comfortable with how I can use it. I don't know how I would use it in my class yet. I teach language arts, but right now I'm just kind of using it to get lots of ideas for teaching.
I'll just send you the link, Meg. Curriculum coordinators on Twitter. There's so many great lists that people have done. It's a good place to start.
Thanks.
Just kind of, if someone else has done a little bit of, compiling for you, then you can just start checking out particular people that might help you in one aspect of your teaching. You could just use Twitter just for your own class or your wider kind of curriculum goals, and then just really focus on filling your follow list with that, so that every time you look at it, it represents. So in fact, I've done a lot to kind of just really, initially, because I think I got on Twitter in 2006 or something like that, and so I was just following all kinds of people just because that's what you thought you did. And then over the years, people mention unfollowing. As soon as someone doesn't really represent any value, then I just kind of start taking them out and replacing them with other people. I've actually reached a limit. I can no longer follow any more people until my ratio of following to followers reaches parity. It's really fun.
Can you talk a little bit more about that, Justin? Like, why do you want your followers and following to be roughly equivalent?
Well, I don't. I think I would follow more people. I think they're just, Twitter puts that in place to try and keep it real, so you can't automate it. So that because some of the social media metrics, there's like currency developing around how many people are following you and followers, and so if you just follow a lot of people, then chances are people will follow you back, and so you could develop like 10,000 followers really quickly, but you could automate that, and so I think they're trying to make it more human and putting some checks in place.
So they will actually limit you from following too many people too quickly.
Yeah, if it's out of whack. So yeah, that's right. If you're following out, you write a computer program that just follows people, and then no one's following you, then chances are you're not real.
Awesome.
I just had a question about, I have seen tremendous value in how it connects people and gets ideas and connects educators and some wonderful ideas. Can someone tell me exactly how they've used it really effective with their students in the classroom? Because I haven't got a clear picture of how that works.
Yeah, Justin, do you want to speak to that? Because I feel like you have the most experience right now, or maybe less if you have something you want to add to that too.
For using it in the classroom?
Yeah, with students.
One thing that I did in my Green Industries class was, I haven't been very good at keeping it up this year, but in the past I created a separate Twitter account called Plant Geek during my plants unit in my Green Industries class, and what I would do there was I would tweet out random facts about plants or trees, like a photo of an awesome tree, and identify it and send it off to the kids, and I got them all to follow that on Twitter, and then I would sort of give at different points during the year, we'd have times where they could go on and check Twitter, and we had like a little sort of mini assignment that was an optional thing for them to do, a sort of like extension option, where they could, if they would tweet back with more information about what I had tweeted out, or sort of like to start a conversation with them on there. It was like a little mini extension assignment. And I found that some of them got really into it and started like tweeting at me pictures of tree pits and things like that on the street corners, which was amazing. And others were just sort of like, not into it. And in civics class, we used it more regularly, and mainly it was just getting the students on Twitter and then getting them each to follow politicians, to follow news feeds. And in that way, there wasn't necessarily an assignment built into it, but I was sort of trying to like infiltrate their news feed so that amongst their like Lady Gaga tweets or whatever they're getting like a little bit of, something from the Conservative Party and the Liberal Party and the NDP Party being mixed into their sort of subconscious of their online social media stream. So
amazing. You're like a Twitter ninja. And Garth, we were talking about this at the beginning of our broadcast, and it was just you and I in this sad little party. Do you want to talk a little bit about some of the things that you've seen teachers do in terms of using Twitter with their students?
You can just call me Garth. Yes, I will, absolutely.
It's 9:52. It's way past my bedtime.
I will put a hashtag in the chat. So this is the guy I was referring to earlier. His Brad Overnell Carter. He teaches in Vancouver at Mulgrave School. He runs his entire course through hashtags. It's almost like an LMS. And so if you follow this hashtag that I put in here, which is hashtag TOKREW11, he runs an IB TOK class. So he'll basically have a whole back channel running that archives the conversation, notable quotes, resources, and a bunch of different questions that he'll pose, and then they will be there to archive for anybody. So they can go back to them, take, and so on and so forth. But then he'll connect with other classrooms around the world because they can hashtags, and so they can create those hashtags by unit or by purpose, create a really momentum or allow kids a particular hashtag. That's kind of examples that are happening right now if you want to follow it.
Thank you. Okay, maybe we should do one more question and then wrap up our hangout for the evening because it's getting close to 10. This is for anybody, even though it's face-to-face centric. What questions still linger for you about Twitter or TweetDeck after our first face-to-face? Like, what are things that you still want to figure out? And maybe we can answer them right now, or maybe there's something that we need to investigate further. So what questions still linger for you?
I don't. This isn't really a question. I guess for me, like some really awesome practical ways to incorporate it into my practice. So people have already mentioned it. I'm going to give that a whirl. I think I just said that.
I think you were cutting out for me, Meg. Did anyone else hear her response?
Not very well.
Yeah, do you want to say that last part again, Meg?
Yeah, I don't know where it cut out. I would love some more examples of how people have used it. And am I still there?
Yeah, practical examples. Yeah.
But I think the bottom line is I have to just go for it and give it a try, and there might be some epic fails in there, but hopefully something that we do.
Yeah, and I think at the second face-to-face, Meg, you're going to see some more examples in real time, which will be really good, just to watch what Les does with her TweetDeck or see how Justin manages his feed. Just by seeing somebody do it in real time makes a big difference, I find. Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Andrew or Melissa, any last lingering questions while we're all together in this hangout?
My question.
Yeah, why don't you go first, Melissa, and then Andrew can pipe in.
Justin answered my question by giving me some Google search ideas for how I can find people to follow. So I'm feeling good right now. I've got two.
Wicked. Andrew?
Thoughts? Still to figure out is it's working really well for me right now as a news aggregator. I feel like a lot of sources from it. Using it as a conversation. Like Celeste knows I like to talk things out, so I'll just like bother her in her classroom and ask a question like you and I like that. Just like I was maybe tweet like, oh, what's the one thing when you're working on a rubric? I go read a bunch of tweets, go back and edit it, and like more conversation thing.
Nice, thank you. Okay, team, before we close up shop for the night, we can maybe just go around and say one word that summarizes your experience tonight, your feelings about Twitter, your energy level towards tweeting. I can start, and that's, my word is excited. I'm gonna call on you for your word. I'll go with Ruth because I know you can be put on the spot well.
Growth.
Sweet. Melissa.
Comforted.
Cool. Good word. Meg.
I'm gonna go with contemplated.
Sweet. Les.
I'm gonna go with Twitterific.
Lauren.
Helpful.
Yeah. Justin.
Chemistry.
He had like a completely different hangout experience tonight. Love it. And Andrew, last word.
Conversation.
Cool. All right. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining this hangout. And
Good job, Celeste, posting your new one.
Thanks.
Woo!
Thanks.
Amazing.
Bye.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Face coming up. See you on Twitter. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
On Wednesday for blogging. If you
Wednesday
want.
at 9.
Wednesday at 9.
I think 8:30. I think that's what I'm doing.
That's more reasonable. Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everyone.